there of being the accountant for Floyd Mayweather for a number of years. Residences making 100, 200 grand here or there, $50,000 not going to affect. But for those large investors, obviously that's becoming very concerning, because if you've got a building, big mall or something else, it could be worth $100 million. All of a sudden you've got a $10 million profit on there that's now going to be taxed at 37 or 40 versus 20 to 24. Huge difference. So that's the biggest one people are keeping their eye on.
I mean, dang, Floyd Money Mayweather, man, wow, y'all around here getting Rolexes, not paying for them. Man, y'all got stacks of money, owing jewelers money.
Floyd Mayweather is supposed to be the richest boxer in history. But now, his own accountant just flipped on him and revealed something that might change everything. $500 million in debt. That's what he claims Mayweather secretly owes. Not in speculation. In real documents, back taxes, unpaid loans, and gambling tabs so huge they'd make Vegas sweat. This isn't a rumor. It's coming from the guy who handled his money for over a decade. And the numbers, they don't lie. Stick with me, because we're going through what the accountant exposed, how Floyd kept it hidden so long, and why this could be the biggest financial collapse in sports history. The man spilling it all is Ronald Jacobs. For 12 years, he was the quiet brain behind the scenes of Floyd's flash. He did everything: bookkeeping, filing taxes, arranging wire transfers, and keeping the IRS away. But then something changed.
Weather, that's awesome. So you mentioned said not to get in their lives. I have to tell this. I remember as I think I was a teenager. Yeah, I was going to college. I didn't go all the way through, but the criminal justice teacher told us when you do your taxes, if you're dealing drugs, that you should end up putting your salesperson. I don't know about that firsthand, but I just remember
that's how it's classified.
He specifically said, he kind of looked at everybody, he's like, for those of you guys, it's a salesperson. And I was like, all right, but no, man, I got asked. So Money Mayweather, what was that like? Just
Absolutely great experience. I had a great time doing his work. Problem is as the manager goes, so does the CPA. So when he changed managers, we ended up getting kicked to the curb.
Jacobs was named in a federal investigation tied to Mayweather's business holdings. And when the heat turned up, he caved, handed over spreadsheets, financial statements, voice messages, even emails. He told investigators Mayweather used shell companies to hide losses. That money was moved from one account to another with no real record. He showed paperwork proving assets were exaggerated and debts were buried. He didn't just flip, he lit the match. So where did $500 million go? Here's how Jacobs says it breaks down: $140 million in federal tax debt. That goes back nearly a decade. Some years, no returns were filed at all. $85 million in loans against properties in Vegas, LA, and Florida. Many of these were borrowed using inflated valuations. $75 million in losses from failed business ventures, including a clothing brand, a boxing league, and an international crypto fund. $55 million in gambling markers, mostly in Vegas, with some. Casinos freezing access. $32 million in payroll debt. Chefs, security, pilots, drivers, and personal...
Okay, so Money Mayweather is jabbed by the IRS here. What happened? Well, he took a large S-Corp deduction for legal expense. The merits of that didn't even matter because he missed his appeal deadline of the denial. His accountants and lawyers screwed up, so the tax court said, hey, you were too late appealing this. You gotta pay us back all the tax plus penalties plus interest. Moral of the story, pay attention to the deadlines on the IRS letters. Really sad they didn't do it in this case, with considering the armies of lawyers and accountants he has. So pay attention, hit your deadlines on audit, otherwise you're gonna lose the appeal.
Assistants who were paid late or not at all. $20 million tied up in legal settlements and NDAs. This wasn't a leak. It was a full-on financial confession. If Floyd had all this debt, why didn't anyone know? Jacobs says it was by design. Mayweather kept just enough money visible to look wealthy. A few $100,000 in cash, some flashy jewelry, the jet on standby. Meanwhile, bills went unpaid for months. Credit cards were maxed, then paid off right before they got flagged. Event checks were cashed fast and used to cover outstanding markers.
Something that many people, it's public knowledge, not sharing anything that's not out there, but something many people don't realize is he suffered a lot through his life with depression, something that he's struggled with mentally. And with that, we saw some of the progress and growth that he went through, some of the struggles that he was facing, and to have a lot of respect for someone that goes out there and pushes it every day and tries to be a better person.
Yeah, I got. Did he have the $20,000 in sides at the restaurant, Wolf of Wall Street? Are they cure cancer?
He showed statements where Mayweather moved $6 million through 5 accounts in a week, just to make it look like the money was fresh. The image was controlled. The books were cooked. Let's talk lifestyle. Mayweather was spending more than most people make in a lifetime every month. Up to $1.5 million monthly on his staff. Over $300,000 per month, just in travel. $500,000 in gambling losses over a single weekend. $17 million Beverly Hills mansion that costs $100,000 a month just to maintain. One line from Jacobs' report stood out. It cost Floyd more to exist than most people make by age 60. The feds didn't.
Floyd Mayweather is the most successful boxer in history with a 50-0 record, and one of the wealthiest athletes of all time with $1 billion in earnings. But I bet you didn't know it all started with a $750,000 bet on himself. Here's the wild story. In 2006, Floyd Mayweather was 10 years into his boxing career and earning over $5 million per fight. At the time, Mayweather was signed to Bob Arum's Top Rank boxing promotion, a partnership which saw Arum get 25% of Mayweather's fight purse. But Mayweather wanted more, and in 2006, he turned down $8 million to fight Antonio Margarita and said he deserved $20 million to fight Oscar De La Hoya. Arum wasn't happy and wouldn't pay up, so Mayweather paid the $750,000 exit fee in his contract to leave Top Rank. Mayweather then went on to promote his own fights, earning a percentage of every ticket, hot dog, and beer sold at the event, and most importantly, all pay-per-views sold. And just 1 year later in 2007, after leaving Top Rank, Mayweather made $25 million for his win against Oscar De La Hoya. Now that's what happens when you bet on yourself.
Catch this sooner because Floyd lived in the more loopholes. Jacobs showed that Mayweather's team regularly delayed filings. When red flags popped up, they paid just enough to buy time. Audits were pushed back. Penalties were negotiated quietly. And the public, they saw the Rolls Royces and assumed all was well. But privately, creditors were circling. Properties were on the verge of foreclosure. At one point, Jacobs says Mayweather had less than $2 million in liquid funds to his name. For a man who once carried $1 million in a backpack, that's a brutal drop. Jacobs wasn't the only one feeling the pressure. Since the news broke, at least 3 members of Floyd's close financial team have retained separate lawyers. Why? Because federal prosecutors are now looking at everyone who signed off on transfers and filings. Multiple LLCs linked to Mayweather are being reviewed for fraud. His promotion company is being subpoenaed for overseas income declarations. This isn't about Floyd alone anymore. It's everyone who helped keep the lie running. As of now, Floyd hasn't said a word. No post, no tweet, no flex. He's reportedly cancelled appearances. His team shut down press requests. The Instagram stories of stacks and suits, gone. And that silence says a lot. Sources say he's trying to sell off real estate before any asset freezes come down.
But he said the only thing I have to have as a billionaire, I gotta have a private jet. He was like, that's the best. He said that's the best main thing.
That's not what Warren Buffett got, a private jet. So me and Warren Buffett is sitting down like this in a dressing room one time, right before one of my fights, and I'm talking to him. You know, we talking about jets. I'm talking about my jet. At that particular time, I think I had 2 jets at that time. The next thing you know, this man tell me he got, I think, 540 jets. You gotta think he owned net jets, if I'm not mistaken. So he had like 500 and some jets. So he really showing out.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's just that when you've been living this life, for so long, I think it's normal, you know. But you know, when people go on social media, they post, then when I post, they get mad.
One mansion in Miami was recently listed, then quietly pulled. He's looking for cash buyers. Fast? Short answer? Maybe. But it would take massive paydays and major changes. Even if he fights again, no single event is going to clear this kind of debt, especially if a good chunk goes to taxes and legal costs. Insiders say Mayweather is talking to streaming services about selling his life story. That could mean a documentary, a dramatized series, anything that brings in an advance check. But with the government watching, that money might be gone before he even cashes it. For decades, Floyd sold the image of being untouchable. He called himself the best ever, but this is not what legends are made of. His 50-0 record isn't changing, but the story behind, the scenes, it's unraveling, fast. And when you go from billionaire to borrowing against your own brand.
He did. He made $1 billion plus. Floyd made a lot of money. And I don't really know Floyd's business, so I'm not going to speak on Floyd's business. But Floyd's very, very, as we all the world knows, he's money made, very flashy. Look, man, you know, we both made some real money, but you know, you start burning through, you make $2-3 million a year, you burning through $100,000 a month. You ain't really got that much money.
Shit, he probably spending way more than that.
No, I'm talking regular dudes.
we
say we made $3 million, we burning through $100,000 a month. We really don't got no paper like that saved
that's
up.
A fact.
So even if he's making $100 million, if he's burning through $5, $6, $7 million a month, you still got taxes, you still got responsibilities. So I don't know nobody's bag, but you know, me and you, we real. We never count nobody's paper. So
not at all.
I hope he got $10 billion. And I hope he get out of his problem.
That's a fact, because you would figure he should be able to just cash him out, like whatever the tab is, you know, he should be able to wire that.
Yeah, I think he could do that with no problem. I think he got all the money in the world. I think they may not want it.
That's not just a fall. That's an implosion. Here's the takeaway. The flashiest man in boxing may have been broke behind the scenes for years. And now the man who used to say, hard work, dedication, is being forced to face real consequences. So the next time you see a celebrity showing off, remember this story. Don't be fooled by the surface. Pay attention to the silence. If you want more hard truths, stay watching. Because this Mayweather story, it's just starting.
Look, man, you know, we both made some real money, but you know, you start burning through, you make $2-3 million a year, you burning through $100,000 a month. You ain't really got that much money.
Shit, he probably spending way more than that.
No, I'm talking regular dudes.
We
say we made $3 million, we burning through $100,000 a month. We really don't got no paper like that saved up.
That's a fact.
So even if he's making $100 million, if he's burning through $5, $6, $7 million a month, you still got taxes, you still got responsibilities. So I don't know nobody's bag, but you know, me and you, we real. We never count nobody's paper. So
not at all.
I hope he got $10 billion. And I hope he get out of his problem.
That's a fact, because you would figure he should be able to just cash him out, like whatever the tab is, you know, he should be able to wire that.
I think he could do that with no problem. I think he got all the money in the world. I think they may not want it. Some different countries be wanting different things. Think about it. How many times have, you know, we've been involved with something and we go, nah, man, we just throw some paper at it. And I'm talking back in the days when we was doing our little 1-2s.
Correct.
And nah, they don't want to drop the case. You'd be like, I'll put the money up for the lawyer. I'll put the money up for the bail. They don't want to drop it. And you find yourself 9-10 months later sitting there like, oh shit, this is getting real. So I think that's the problem he's going through. I think it may be getting real.
Wow.
How much is it?
$1.8 million.
$1.8 million watch.
$1.8 million, dude?
You're the first to see it.
That's insane. That
1.8 is high. 18 life.
That happy birthday, champ.
That's how we doing.
That is sick, dude.
But you gotta show him what he's saying.
Money green.
No,
Hold on. This watch was made specifically for the champ, Floyd Money Mayweather. 1 of 1 piece. That's
One of
bad.
one. 1 of 1.
Money team. Can we see it on him? Yes, sir.
That 1 of 1.
$1.8 million.
champ. I love that.